Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to do substitution one more time. And I'm going to do 2 examples with substitution, and I'm going to videotape them so that you have them. And then I'm going to give you 3 questions to do that are an assignment. You need to do them on a separate piece of paper. You need to make sure they're good. You need to take PDFs of them, and then you're going to upload them for me for marks. And this is instead of a test. So we're going to do this together. So here's your first example that you can look at. So example 1, we're going to want to solve. And the first one I'm going to give you is 4x minus 7y equals 20. And the second equation will be x minus 3y equals 10. And the only way to learn how to do these is to do them. So what I'm going to suggest is stop the video now and do this question. And then take the video and start it again and see how you did for each step. Those of you in class, continue following along with what I'm doing because this is only our second time doing it. The kids at home have already done this yesterday for a second time. So you guys follow along and then we'll let you go and try some more. So we're going to solve. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call this equation 1 and I'm going to call this equation 2. And I'm going to talk to myself about what does it mean to solve a system of equations, more than one equation. It means to get the point of intersection. It means to find the point that lies on this line and lies on this line. So it means that I'm looking for an answer that looks like that. I'm looking for an x comma y. That's what it means to solve a system of equations. So now, how do we do it? Well, it doesn't matter which equation you start with. It really doesn't. It's completely up to you. And what you want to do is take one of the equations and get one of the variables isolated. Now listen to me. You're going to take one of the equations and get one of the variables. There's 2 variables, x and y. X and y. There's 2 equations, equation 1, equation 2. Pick one and get one of its variables by itself. So I'm going to pick to work with, I choose x minus 3y equals 10 to work with. Why? Because it's really easy to get x by itself. Anything else is going to require a division at some point, isn't it? And the numbers are going to get messy. This x is so easy to get by itself. All I have to do is add both sides by 3y. And that was step 1. So what I did was I chose equation 1, and what I did was I isolated for one of the variables. I got x to be by itself, and that was step 1. Step 2, I now take this isolated variable, this equation, if you will, which is this equation, and I substitute it into the one above. I actually take what this is equal and I substitute it into the other one. So it helps if you write this out. Take x equals 10 plus 3y and substitute, let's use SUB for short form for substitute, into the other one. And write this. If you want to get this right, I suggest you actually do these steps. You actually write them. So I'm going to take this and substitute it into the other one. So what is the other one? The other one is 4x minus 7y equals 20. That's the other one. And what I'm substituting, let's be very clear here, is I'm taking x, which equals 10 plus 3y, and I'm putting it into the x here. So instead of writing an x, I'm going to write 10 plus 3y minus 7y equals 20. So what I did was I substituted the x, which is 10 plus 3y. I found the x in the other equation, and I replaced it or substituted it with the 10 plus 3y. That's why it's called substitution, and that is step number 2. That's why it's called substitution. Your next step is to solve for the variable that's left. Notice how I only have one variable now. So the next step is solve for the variable. And that variable is going to be solved by taking this 4 and distributing it into both things inside the brackets, giving me 40 plus 12y minus 7y equals 20, which gives me 5y equals 20 minus 40, which gives me 5y equals negative 20, which gives me y equals negative 20 divided by 5. Y equals negative divided by a positive is a negative. 20 divided by 5 is 4. And I suggest you do that in 2 steps. Otherwise, you're going to give me the answer of positive 4, and it's going to be wrong. All right, so that's step 3. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You're halfway done. You know the y value. Remember, you want an x comma y. You now know the y value. The y value is negative 4. Awesome. So what do we do now? Well, we take this value and we sub. So there's 2 places where we sub. We sub y equals negative 4 into, and it doesn't matter which one. You can substitute it into 1 or 2. It's your choice. To prove that it's your choice, I'm going to ask someone from the studio audience. Marcus, choose a number, 1 or 2.
1.
All right, so he chose 1. So I'm going to use equation 1, 4x minus 7y equals 20. And what I'm supposed to substitute is everywhere there's a y, I'm supposed to put in a negative 4. So it'll be 4x minus 7 minus 4 equals 20. Notice the negative on the outside with the 7 stays, but the negative 4 is negative 4, so it's got to be put in as negative 4. So a negative times a negative is a positive, so that's going to be 4x plus 28 equals 20. 4x equals 20 minus 28. 4x equals negative 8. X equals negative 8 divided by 4 equals negative 2. Congratulations, you have now got the final step. So you now know, and I've run out of room to sort of put it, but I can maybe sort of fit it in right here. Therefore, the point of intersection, which is x comma y, is equal to negative 2 comma negative 4. And that is the final answer to this question. So once again, if you're following at home, if you haven't done so already, stop, redo this question, and then check it as you go through. Make sure you understand all the substitution parts. So this is just a substitution, this is just a substitution, and the rest is just algebra.